Hey everybody, welcome to the Quest Culture Podcast, your place for everything sci-fi, fantasy, horror, drama, action in television, movies, and in print. And we sometimes get into a little pop culture as well. I'm here with your hosts, Dana Jeter and Professor Sheldon Applewhite. Everybody say hello.
Hello, hello.
How you guys doing today?
I'm
Pretty
great.
good.
I'm doing this podcast from bed, so all good.
That is the, I mean, if you can do most things from bed, it's usually a lot more fun.
All right, keep it clean.
I'm talking about like reading and eating and podcasting. I don't know why you keep it clean.
Yeah.
Good.
Okay.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm glad we decided to do this like a little I don't know what you call it, episode 8.1 or what do you call it? But I'm glad we decided to do this this little break episode, right?
Our latest episode.
Because there's a lot of things going on.
You know
a lot
what?
of movies that came out and a lot of things that
And a
we're
lot
kind
of
of
stuff
discovering
in
on this
2025 is just really hitting the road, running. And it's starting off inauspiciously, and the weather is insane. We have fire. We have
break. Fires in LA.
snow everywhere. We have what else we got going on? We have folks bringing back salute that are rude, and
Oh my God!
it's just a lot going on. And it's only the first month.
I've been watching news, so I really don't.
Oh, you mean-
It's like I'm sort of stuck in this surreal kind of frame where I kind of know what's going on because I'm on social media, but I don't really know what's going on. So I didn't realize like Florida had like snow, that it's been very cold there. Of course I know about the fires in LA, but they're just certain, like, I don't know exactly what's going on. You know, we're on hiatus. I've been on winter break. I've been on a break from the news, a long pause since November 8th. So you guys might make references to things that I may or may not know about. So
I think it's probably great that you've been tuned out. I think that's probably the healthiest thing to do.
If the majority of Americans live in ignorance about what's happening in the world, why can't I for a few months or a couple of years?
You've been tuned in for years. I think you deserve a hiatus.
Thank you. Yeah, I appreciate it.
To reiterate, to summarize, everybody's tech Jesus gave a Roman salute at the inauguration.
What does that look like? Can give me? We don't want to do any.
I mean, it's a Roman salute, so I think apparently, a lot of people don't have a problem with it. I say
for our audience members who don't know what a Roman salute is, what's that?
Well, it's a reference to a painting that was actually supposedly a greeting that was done in Rome, but there's no actual evidence that was ever done. It's just literally reference from a painting adopted by a fascist. And then Tech Jesus decided, I'm going to stand in front of the entire world in America on an inauguration for American president and just do it because,
and
I did it twice.
And Elon did it at the inauguration. I didn't see the inauguration. I didn't read about it. I'm not giving them any of my energy.
Good.
Yeah.
Good. Fair warning. Fascism is trying to poke its little head out of the booty of America.
It has been for like 10 years now. So
but the selective outrage is. I try not to get surprised by folks because where I am in life. But the fact that many people are defending him is absolutely insane. Because, like I said, we didn't get this with Kanye. We didn't get this with Kyrie Irving. I just don't understand why this man is getting this pass and being defended like this.
We got to kind of give maybe like a mini history lesson. When things happened in Germany and Italy or whatever, it didn't happen like with this big bang. It happened very quietly, and people just sat by silently and just watched it, right? While their neighbors were being escorted out of like the village, or right where the store that they shopped at was suddenly closed and seized by like the government. It happened very slowly, right? And so these things have been like kind of happening for a while now, and now they're happening, and people are turning a blind eye because it's them, it's not us, and they must have done something to elicit the government intervening and doing this, right? And so everybody sits around until it's their turn.
Yeah. Okay.
It's crazy to watch. It's sad to watch. I always think that I'm not going to be surprised, but I'm surprised. Like, this is like, I mean, you can go back to Nick Bosa in a San Francisco game when he came on with the Trump hat. I mean, I thought athletes were supposed to shut up and dribble or whatever the hell it was. You know, Colin Kaepernick is still not playing football because he took a knee. Yeah. But Nick Bosa is out there with the hat, obviously making a political statement, and he's still playing football next year. Nobody's trying to get him out of the league. The league isn't releasing statements on his behalf.
There are no games that he had to sit out. No fine, no nothing. Okay.
No,
I mean, I saw that, right? Like I know about that, and you know, it's very.
I didn't even know about that. Yeah,
different rules.
It's very telling, you know. But if people can't, you know, people have short-term memory. They're ahistorical and they have short-term memory, and so
short-term memory. It's just I don't know if it's that though. Like, why do you
think it is cognitive dissonance? I just think that
I think it's willful ignorance.
I say it's a combination of both because we are not but 4 years out of the pandemic or George Floyd, and people are acting like those things kind of like they forgot about it. They forgot where we were, that people were out in the streets. People forgot that, like, literally, when you watch the news, it was stacked up with dead bodies outside of outside of funeral homes and hospitals. People forgot. We can't just it's like young people. It's like it was people who are our age and older who forgot the state of this country during that time. I mean, some of it is willful ignorance. Some people forgot, and when I say they forgot, because they forgot why it was important to vote, to make sure that you weren't going to get in this situation again in the next, you know, election cycle. And next, right? Some people woefully ignored and, you know, feign ignorance or whatever. But some people, we don't care about history. We don't.
Okay.
Yeah.
And the government or the Constitution, and you know what I mean? Like the notion, again, something I heard, and you can tell me if this hearsay or whatever, the notion that a Congress member would take people from the January 6th sedition on tours of the Capitol, or it's proposed that they do that.
Lauren Boebert did.
Yes. Okay. So I'm not making that up. Outrageous.
No, that happened.
It's simply outrageous that you would think that people could stand by, even if you think some people got caught in a whirlwind of like doing something that they didn't know was going to happen, that you could stand by and say that these people who have been found guilty can go to the Capitol and give a tour of offices that they were trying to break into, and public servants that they were saying to string up. That you got the audacity. That's some balls right there.
But it goes back to, again, different rules for different people. But they're not even pretending that it's hidden anymore. Now it's clear. Daniel Perry strangles a house person,
or a mentally
challenged person on the train, strangles him to death. An entire train full of people are watching. How long we've been in New York City? How many people have we seen on a train acting up, whatever? I've never felt the impulse to get up and strangle anybody, to choke them out.
No, never. The shit hits the fan. What do you
this guy does this, and he gets to sit next to the president in a suite of a college football game.
Yeah.
So it's telling everybody it's open season.
But what is it also telling you about? What is it telling you also about basic humanity? That people can buy in a train and allow somebody to be strangled.
I mean, basic humanity. Again, coming from someone who, you know, just don't have faith in humanity anymore. You know, me, not you guys.
Yeah. No, you.
I'm headed that way.
You've been clear on it. Like, yeah. I mean, let's move on.
David Lynch just passed away. His birthday was on the 20th.
Yeah.
But I was
prepared. He passed like a week before his birthday, huh?
Yeah, he passed. I think on the 15th. Yeah. So
Sheldon, I'm sorry, Brendon. So Sheldon, you remember when we did our favorite director episode, you were going to pick David Lynch, right?
I was gonna I was gonna pick David Lynch because the films that I've seen of his, they're just like, they're surreal. They're kind of subversive. They kind of challenge, basic social institutions like small towns and the order of things in small towns or Hollywood, right? And so I considered choosing him, but I felt like I wanted to give my attention or bring the attention to somebody who isn't often, sort of propped up, or his work isn't often spoken about in terms of the claim that his work and the accomplishments that his work has. So I chose Spike Lee instead. But yeah, I think David Lynch is a great American filmmaker, and I think that his work is important in some ways. Of course, you guys are probably familiar. I mean, you both are familiar with some of the things that he's done. I mean, one of the most accomplished things that he's done was Twin Peaks. I don't know if you guys were a fan. I
tried to watch Twin Peaks. It just wasn't for me.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't watch Twin Peaks either, and it's strange because like I like that type of show, right? But I just didn't watch. And I love Laura Dern. I love Laura Dern.
Well, at heart, yeah.
Right, a young, sort of young ingenue Laura Dern. Also, one of his sort of one of the actors that he worked with is Kyle. What's his name? Kyle.
Kyle Laughlin.
He's in Dune. Yeah.
McLaughlin.
Right. Yeah. Right. He's worked with him since the beginning, and he also has been in like not only television show but also in his films. But he also did movies like Blue Velvet, which is an American classic. And also one of my favorites is Mulholland Drive, which again stars Laura Dern, right? It's a story about Hollywood essentially. But also a young Naomi Watts, who I love. I love Naomi Watts. And he talks about like, something that seems very straightforward, like a small town or Hollywood, but like sort of the underbelly of what happens in these places. And, always for me as a young person, like studying sociology, I always remember, reading this article by C. Wright Mills, where it's like, the stuff that you see on the surface is like the surface stuff. Like, but what happens when you look through the keyhole? Like, what's happening in people's households, right? Like, that's the stuff that this world is made of. And like, the first time I read that, I was just like, oh yeah, right? Like, we don't, like, the priest and his story and what he's doing in Sunday service is so great. Like what's happening on Monday through Saturday, that's the part that's fascinating to me. And so I think that's what David Lynch's films do. That's what they represent, right? Not the obvious, but what's happening, below the surface.
What I like about his work is I love his casting, like you said. I think he picked edgy people to be in his movies, not necessarily mainstream actors. And I love that his work was odd and a bit creepy, but in a cool way. Like my favorite film by him, I haven't seen Mulholland Drive. I do want to see that. But Wild at Heart, I love that movie so much, and I had no idea
about that.
I love that movie. I mean, it was Laura Dern, it was Nick Cage, William Dafoe, a quirky love story, with some good violence and and a Southern backdrop. It was just they were just so great in that movie. I could watch it over and over again. So that's one of my favorites by him. And I had no idea that he did The Elephant Man.
Yeah.
I can only watch that movie one time because it was so sad, but it was directed brilliantly. It was such a great movie.
And he's sort of like the forefather to people like Quentin Tarantino, right? And
right.
And who does what's this guy? Fincher, right? He's foundational to them. They don't get into the surrealism as much, but like you can see, you said Wild at Heart, you can see like what's the movie with I should have researched this in advance. What's the movie with Roseanne
The Lost Highway. I saw that too.
Yeah, like he lays the foundation for those films. You know what I mean? And the vampire movie, like Quentin Tarantino vampire movie.
Oh,
Dust Till Dawn.
Dust Till, I'm not maybe not Dust Till Dawn. I can't. Anyway, he kind of like, you know, he's the forefather to that kind of that.
Yeah.
Right. Memento. Like, come on, Memento is so in his vein, right? Like,
yeah.
These stories, these small time criminals who, like, there's all this other stuff happening below the surface, right?
Yeah.
It's real. Yeah. So we owe a lot to him as a filmmaker. Yeah.
What do you like by him, Brendon?
So David Lynch is weird for me. Like, I don't have a favorite movie by him. There's movies that I like by him. What I appreciate about him, I mean, like, I love Mulholland Drive. I like one of the movies that I still watch to this day, you know, because I think I mentioned a moment ago, I had the soundtrack, is Lost Highway. That Balthazar Getty was in it. If I remember thinking Balthazar Getty was going to be this big star one day, and he just kind of disappeared. But the soundtrack got me. But the thing about David Lynch for me, which I appreciate, is that, like, you watch his movies and you don't know what's going on all the time.
They're strange, like you said.
They're strange. And I think that used to turn me off to some of his movies sometimes, because I like to know, I like to be watching the film and feel like I have a grasp on what's going on. But then I realized a little bit about his process. He has these feelings and these images in his brain that don't make sense to him. So he sits and he meditates, and then he'll write out like a treatment of a movie. For instance, like with Eraserhead, he had no idea how that movie was going to come together. He just had image scenes that emoted feelings to him, and he wanted just to capture them. And then I think he said as he was filming, he couldn't figure out where everything was going to go, so he started reading the Bible. And he never said what passage in the Bible inspired him, but he said he read a line in the Bible which made him understand how to put the sequences together for Eraserhead. So I understood that the reason why I personally, people don't get some of the stuff that he does is because you're not supposed to. He's putting together images in some films and some scenes where it's just about the feeling, and he just wants you to feel something. And if you try to get deeper into that, besides just trying to enjoy that scene and that composition that he's making, then you start to get twisted. And in Lost Highway, like the way it ends, there's scenes in the middle where it just seems like he just pulled stuff out of different, like off the floor, and just put them in the cut, and it was like all over the place, you know. And I still don't get the film, but I feel like it's super entertaining to watch.
Yeah.
So I do appreciate about that. I appreciate the fact that, you know, he's making movies for himself.
I think a part about American filmmaking is that many people want the answer. They want the story. They want it to be like nice and neat, and they want a conclusion, and they want it to be sequential. They want it to be linear.
Well, it doesn't have to be linear for me. Like you mentioned Memento, which is totally off. Like Memento is all over the place.
Oh my God.
That's another movie where I watched multiple times and I'm like, wait a minute.
But that's the point.
Because I like figuring out new things as it goes, right?
Yeah, I think that's the point though, is like he is sort of like challenging or giving people an alternative to like having a nice, neat storyline that is linear or whatever. It's like
it's an interactive experience.
Right. Our life doesn't happen in nice, neat, linear, like, you know, motions. Like if you looked at your life, if you looked at my life, whatever, it is not a linear path, right? Like it's like it diverges, and it's like there are things that are thrown in. Like, where did that person come from? How did that person get into your storyline? And so I think a lot of people can learn from that, or probably have learned from that in terms of how to make films and how to look at stories, right? And challenge themselves to like think. I hate to say this, so cliche, but outside of the box or whatever.
No, it is what it is. Yeah, I agree with that. He is outside the box. I do like the fact, as I keep watching him, I do like the fact that he makes me that I don't know what's going on, that I'm always guessing, that the credits will roll and I'm like, I don't know what the F just happened.
Like,
You
what
know?
did I
Like,
do? What?
yeah, like, but I enjoy that. I enjoyed it about it. I enjoy, like you guys said, his characters are always like usually like compromised in some way. They're not, even in like the suburban, picturesque looking shots. There's always he's always implying that there's some kind of darkness lurking in the background, behind the scenes. Okay. So I do like that about him. Speaking of darkness, so to David Lynch, we're giving you your flowers. The world is going to be a much less poor place, and without a creator, filmmaker, artists, sculptor. He even delved into architecture, designing like for interior design. This guy is a genius, so the world is going to be a poorer place without him. And I feel like right now we need all the brilliant artists we can right now.
Yes, we do.
Well, speaking of dark places and shadows lurking behind picturesque backgrounds, you saw the Wolfman.
I
right?
saw the Wolfman. I did. And it's funny because I have not been drawn to a Wolfman movie in years. I think the last one I saw, honestly, that I consciously saw was Wolf. You remember with Jack Nicholson and Michelle?
Yes, with Jack Nicholson. Yes.
I think
did you like that movie?
I really did. Did you?
Sheldon's like, no.
I never saw it. No. So
You saw it? Wait.
the last Wolf movie I saw was Teen Wolf. Like, not even Teen Wolf 2.
I like that movie.
Wait. So, did you ask me if I liked it, or did I see it, or did you ask him if he liked it, or he's? What did you ask?
I thought you asked if you saw.
Yeah, I asked if you guys liked the Wolf movie.
What? Oh. Yes. Did you?
I went back and forth. I'm not sure.
Really? Sure. Oh, I thought it was a fun movie. I thought it was. I
like Jack Nicholson's portrayal. I thought he was great. There's something about the story that kind of bothered me, but I won't get into that. Go ahead.
Oh, okay. And then before that, one of my favorite movies, horror movies, just in general, is The Howling. I love.
Oh my God! Yeah.
I love that movie.
There's a few of them.
Oh, American Werewolf in London. Wait, you mean that? No, the first Howling only. Like I don't. I was
about to say, did you like the other Howlings?
I did not. No, just the original Howling. And it's funny. I think the Howling and American Werewolf in London. I think they came out at the same time. Really? Here we go with 80s and 90s
like
movies that are just never forgotten. They're just the best. But anyway, to Wolfman. So what drew me to Wolfman is because it was the same director, and of course I can't think of his name right now, who directed The Invisible Man.
Mm-hmm.
I thought
this supposed to be like is this supposed to be a trilogy? I don't know how I know that, but it's supposed to be 3 films, right?
I don't think so.
I don't know. They might. So it's Paramount, right? Is the producer, because they were trying to do that whole dark universe thing. Remember with Tom Cruise with the Mummy, and then and what's your name? What's your name? Used to be married to Brad Pitt.
Angelina Jolie.
Angelina Jolie was supposed to play the bride.
Oh, I didn't know that.
And then
I don't know how I know it's
movie.
supposed to be a trilogy, but like that Invisible Man movie was with the woman from
oh my God, what the United States is about to come right now.
Yes. The Handmaid's Tale.
Yes.
Yes.
She's in it. So I think what they're trying to do is they may be loosely trying to do that again with, because it's all under the same label and with the same directors, and just trying to create it again, but like do it low key this time.
Yeah, I kind of feel like it's supposed to be a trilogy, right? Like, Invisible Man was the first one. The Wolf is supposed to be the second one. I don't know what the third one is, but
okay. I did not know that.
I believe there's a Frankenstein movie coming out, and I'm trying to remember who's playing Frankenstein.
Yeah,
but there's a Frankenstein
movie.
That's right.
I think there is a Frankenstein movie. Okay, so that's cool. Okay, that's cool.
Yeah.
So what I liked about how he directed it was when it came. First of all, I also wanted to see it because the lead actress Everybody seems to love her, and she was in Ozark. I have never finished Ozark, but I wanted to see how she was as a lead actress.
She was in the Americans too. Shout out to the Americans, right?
Oh, I love that show.
The spy show. Yeah, she was in that briefly. That's where they found her. But yeah, love her.
Okay. So what drew me to it, or what I really liked about it, was when he was transforming, and it was very gradual, how the camera would pan to him, and we got in his head, and we saw everything from his view. So it was so interesting because she was talking to him. She was like, well, what is wrong? But he couldn't even understand her any longer. So it was just cool to see him transform like that. But like I said, it was very gradual. And the fact that, I'm not going to give away too much, but he was a very timid man. So to see him become this creature, I just think it was cool, not giving away too much. But she was like this career woman, because they lived in New York City, and they went to this rural area for a reason I won't say. But and they had this daughter, whatever. So they, they were having a challenging relationship, marriage, whatever. And I also like a good family trauma kind of thing, because he went through a lot as a kid. But like I said, I don't want to give away too much, but he was great. I loved him in it, and that's it. Because I think I'm gonna give away too much of it. But yeah. Did you guys see Invisible Man?
No.
No, I gotta watch. I started watching a little bit of it and I fell asleep, but that's not because of the movie. I was just tired.
I've never been interested in that as a character, like the Invisible Man.
Okay. But anyway, so
yeah, I will say he's one of my least favorite of those characters. Yeah, but I heard the movie was good.
Yeah. Oh, the movie. Yeah, it was good. Yeah, it was good. It was really good. I enjoyed Invisible Man more than Wolfman was good, but I enjoyed Invisible Man more than I did Wolfman. So another movie I saw this week. This is a little
wait before you go to that. Do they do any changes to like the conventions, or is it like or is it like straight up just like werewolf horror?
Good question.
I will say I thought it was interesting that there was no moon involved. There's always a moon when it comes to, there was no moon involved.
That's interesting.
And that's why I say I don't want to give away too much, because his association with why this happened.
Okay.
There's a reason why he became a target. So that's what I don't want to give away.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah. There's a whole mythology, and I don't know all of it, right, about the moon and the werewolf or whatever, right? And even as I'm thinking about it, right, like I think like even if you think about like Buffy the Vampire Slayer, when I was thinking about wolves, right, and like how one of the characters on Buffy the Vampire Slayer becomes a wolf, right, and he becomes one from the bite of a wolf, and right, that's how that whole thing goes, and like that's a whole mythology that goes around it, so that they remove the idea of one, the moon, right, being connected, and also like becoming a vampire. I mean, becoming a werewolf by being bitten by somebody who has the blood of a werewolf. If those two elements aren't in the story, then it is kind of a retelling in some ways.
Yeah.
Okay. So are you telling people to go? Are you telling people to go see it?
I'm telling people to go see it.
Okay.
Do you want me to rank it?
Yes. So you said you liked Invisible Man. So what would you give the Invisible Man?
I'll give it an 8.
Okay. What would you give this one then?
7.
Okay, so noticeably different, marketably. It's a definitely okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So this for a little bonus movie, I went to go see what is the name of it? Oh, One of Them Days with Keke Palmer and SZA.
Oh, okay.
It was fun. I would say that movie was just some stupid fun, one of them buddy comedy movies. Refreshing to see a cast like that.
They refer to it as a female Friday. What do you think about that?
Yes.
Okay.
I would say it's a female Friday. Absolutely. It was fun. It was super fun. It was fun. And that's all I'm going to say about that one.
Okay.
So you telling people to go see that too?
Yeah, I'm telling people to go see that because it's just a good time.
And what would you rate it?
Oh, what would I rate that? I would give it a 7.5.
Okay.
And it's a comedy?
Yeah. Yeah,
So
like a
give
buddy.
us like a just give us like a
sorry.
Just give us like a general synopsis, like 1 minute, quick like synopsis. Let
Oh,
people know in general.
okay, so two friends. They're in LA, struggling. They live together. A situation happened where they didn't have their rent money. They were going to get evicted, so they had to come up with all these schemes and plans to make sure they didn't get evicted by midnight. So just ran into a lot of foolishness.
Excellent.
Fun. Yeah.
Okay.
It was good.
All right. Dana D says go see it. So go see it and let us know what you think in the comments. Also go see Werewolf and let us know what you think in the comments. D gave it a 7. She gave Invisible Man an 8.
Yeah.
Shell and I haven't seen it yet. We'll report back. Yeah, let us know in the comments.
I'm not going to see Wolfman.
I would love to know how.
Sheldon will not be seeing
I'm not
it.
going to
Will
see
not
Wolfman.
report back.
I will see the Kiki.
You will? Okay,
yeah,
cool.
I'll see that. Yes.
Kiki
All right,
so, yes.
Brendon. So it's your turn. You
Take
saw
that. Take it back.
I was getting ready to say Kiki Shepard. Oh my God, from the Apollo.
wow.
Kiki Palmer. I'm sorry.
Kiki
Palmer,
Palmer.
don't do that to Kiki. Kiki's great.
Yeah.
I will say I think she's a bit underestimated as an actor. I really
love
do.
her. I love
Right?
her.
I would say that too.
Yeah.
I would definitely say that too.
So Brendon, you saw a movie.
I did.
Oh.
So I like the director Robert Eggers.
All right.
But he's known for The Lighthouse. I don't know if you guys have seen that. Dana, he directed The Witch. I think you've seen that, right? Did you like that?
The Witch.
The Witch takes place in the forest with the witch.
Mm-mm.
No?
I don't know if I saw that, Brendon.
Oh, The Witch is great. Yeah, The Witch is great. The Northman, which is another one that came out with Skarsgård. His I think it's his.
Was it like
son, Alexander Skarsgård is in it. Nicole Kidman was in it. It's called The
Is it
Northman.
an adaptation of one of these fairy tale movies?
Came out in 2022. It's like a Viking
Okay.
type of thing, and a witch is like a period piece about a witch that lives in the. I can't say too much in the forest in like the 1600s.
Okay.
Oh, I did see it. I'm looking at the preview now. I saw it.
Yeah. Did you like it?
It was okay.
Okay.
I don't remember much of it. Yeah.
Okay. So Nosferatu. I thought it was it's based on it's based roughly on the original Nosferatu that came out in the early 1900s. And I think I mean, obviously the first one's a classic. This is obviously a step up, it's contemporary and he's clearly a horror fan. But it has William Dafoe is in it.
Always great.
And Lily Rose Depp is in it. I remember I was watching it and I saw her and I was like, who is this woman?
You were like blown
knew,
away. You were like, oh, she's amazing. Is that why you were like, who is this woman?
No, I thought she was just okay. She was just okay. But you guys watch it, let me know. Like it's nothing against her. It may have been the dialogue. I don't know. But I thought she was good. She wasn't bad at all.
Okay.
And then, ironically enough, speaking of, because we were talking about the Northman, so maybe there's a lot of connection here. Nosferatu is not Dracula. The whole thing is based on so the original movie was like an unauthorized depiction of Dracula.
Mm-hmm.
So he goes. His name is Count Orlov. It's not Vlad Tepes. But he lives in a castle in the Carpathian Mountains in Romania. So it's based similar background. And he is essentially like he is a reanimated corpse. So he doesn't look. I don't want to give too much about the story, so I'll just tell you aesthetically. He doesn't look like you would expect, like in the Bram Stoker one with Keanu Reeves and Gary Oldman. Like he drinks blood and eventually he looks, like a normal person,
like a normal Romanian,
exactly. Yeah. Here he's kind of still like Bill Skarsgård is who's the one who plays Count Orlov. He like blends into this role. You forget that it's him. He's really excellent.
That's good.
Yeah, he's. We spoke about him before.
He's the older brother, right?
I think he's the youngest.
Oh, okay. He's not the true blood.
Bill
okay.
Alexander, I think, is the oldest, the one who was in the Northman.
The hottie.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah. So so Bill, I think, is the younger one. He's the guy from It. He plays the clown in It. He's a really good character actor. I heard they're floating like he really wants to play the Joker in James Gunn's universe. So it's a different depiction of Dracula than you would expect because it's not Dracula, it's Count Orlov. And I'll say this: it's very it definitely looks like it's a metaphor. Eggers is like a metaphor for the current world. I mean, I don't want to give too much away with the story, but it's very sexual, but not in a way that I think people would. I don't think most people would find appealing. It's very like it's haunting and sexual, like the connection between Orlov and Lily Rose Depp's character in the movie. The traditional roles are Harker, like John Harker is her husband, and her name is Mina, but it's changed up. Her name is Ellen in this movie, and I think Thomas is the name of Nicholas Hoult, who plays her husband. So he's the traditional Harker role. Anyway, I'm trying to paint a lot with just how it feels, so I don't give away too much. But one interesting thing too. Is that the whole concept of vampires having issue with the sun is from Nosferatu. It's not from the book. So there's an image of Nosferatu where he does like this in the window in the sun. That's where that vampires having an issue with sunlight comes from. And then throughout different iterations, like in Bram Stoker's Dracula, he could be out in the sun, but it just diminishes powers a little bit. And then in Twilight, they could be in the sun, I guess, and they sparkled. They sparkled, whatever. So it's
you never saw Twilight. Sorry.
Yeah. Well, Twilight fans have at it. Have at it in the comments. I've seen one movie, and I could have done something else with my time. But it's a very dark movie. It's definitely a slow build. It's definitely
dark visually. Is it dark visually?
Visually, it is visually stunning. He does some very interesting and clever things with black and white. It's shot in black and white. It's essentially just like the original, but he does little things with the color grading and stuff like that to kind of make certain things pop. But it's a very dark in concept and dark in story and dark in the way it's presented. But I think all the performances are really great. I think Nicholas Hoult is amazing. Of course, I mean, again, we already talked about Lily Rose Depp and we talked about Bill Skarsgård, but William Dafoe is amazing. And
always
remember William Dafoe was in that Shadows of a Vampire where he played Count Orlov. Remember, Shadows of a Vampire is a movie that came out. I have to see when it came out, but where it was John Malkovich was in it, and it was about them making that movie. And the actor who played the guy playing Orlov in that movie was William Dafoe. So it's kind of funny to see him playing the vampire killer role in a Dracula movie about Count Orlov, which is who he played in that other movie. So that was kind of neat. I would say go see it. I think it's an 8, probably an 8.5. It depends. I'm gonna watch it again. I might give it a. Yeah, I would give him an 8.5. And I will say this: I'll give him an 8.5 because there's a couple performances that I'm not sure I liked. I thought they were okay. But I would go see it. It's not like a traditional horror movie, like where there's a lot of blood and a lot of gore. It's not like that. It's definitely more about thematic scares and the way, plays with shadow and light, some jump scares, and just like haunting themes. And I think that some people might have problems with the ending. But we'll have to see in the comments if anybody has seen it and if you have a problem with the ending. I hope you guys watch it. I would be curious to know what you guys think, especially Dana, because you're a horror fan. And Shell, there's a lot of societal commentary in this film that I think he is trying to get at in general, a general theme about loneliness, and what people will do when they are incredibly lonely.
Cool.
Yeah, Nosferatu. Go see it. I would give it an 8.5. Go check it out.
That's a great rating for you.
Yeah, it's a high rating for you. Yes.
Yeah.
I'm shocked because I want to watch it again because I know that there's things I missed. And when it's stuff like that, and I generally enjoyed it. For me, it tells me it was probably a good film. I just have to go back and and digest it again. And to tie it back to David Lynch, you definitely feel like you're watching scenes sometimes where you're not sure if it's really happening, if the character is really there or not, if you're really there or not. That's how engrossing it is. It kind of brings you in. So.
Okay, cool. Very cool. I will go see it. Absolutely, I will.
It's actually on Apple TV.
I do not have Apple TV. I need to get Apple TV because I think I'm missing a lot.
Yeah. It's you can't watch for free. You got to rent it. But it's $20.
Oh, you got to rent it off of Apple TV.
Yeah, because it's in the theaters right now. So
Sheldon's like,
Not gonna happen.
Don't get me wrong. I was looking for showtimes to go see it.
Yeah.
And the showtimes are dwindling, which makes me think it's going to be on. You'll be able to stream it very soon.
Pretty soon.
Which makes me sad because it's a great, like, in terms of a film. It's a great film. It looks great.
But no, it's critically acclaimed, and I think it made almost $100 million, which is pretty good for something's considered a horror film. I have to look at the data.
And I know you do. I know you're looking at the numbers. And only really modestly promoted too. I didn't see it everywhere.
Yeah. Well, no, I saw it everywhere. I saw it.
Okay.
Yeah. I saw it advertised quite a bit.
Have you talked to people besides us who were interested in seeing it?
No.
Yeah, me neither. It's anecdotal, but who knows?
Yeah.
But yeah. So go see it.
Okay.
Shell, tell us a little bit about Parable.
Well, first of all, like we're in hiatus, whatever. I'm on winter break, so I get a month. Usually, I get a month off for between when school lets out in December until the spring semester. And so,
for people that are new, what do you teach?
I teach sociology courses, right? I teach mostly introduction to sociology, but I teach courses on sociology, health, family. I teach courses on social problems, urban health, problems in urban problems in urban communities. So that's my, my focus is typically on cities and health and illness. During winter break, I really try to fall back, not to do too much work. And for this break, for the first time, I just didn't do anything. So I didn't watch. Well, I watch films, I'm sure, but mostly what I focused on was books. Another thing I love to do is, of course, watch tennis. Right, the Australian Open it just ended for women. American women wins the Australian Open title. Right. Congratulations to Madison Keys. So I spent a lot of time watching tennis last 2 weeks of winter break. But I did look at two things. I do want to mention both of them. I'm going to talk about Parable, and we'll close out on that. But I definitely do want to make a shout out to this book. It's called A Hero Looks Like You, for people who have kids. It is
Bring it up a little bit. Bring it up. Yeah, there we go.
It's a shameless self-promotion of the new Captain America, A Brave New World film, but I am giving it a shout out because people expect this film to fail. Is that right, Brendon? People do expect this film to fail.
So from what I'm catching online,
Yeah.
there's a lot of that. There's a lot of that incel nonsense going on.
Right, because
of the obvious.
Right. Well,
because he's a DEI captain.
Right. Anyway, Sam Wilson is the new Captain America. That's what the film is going to feature. But there's also this kind of accompanying book. It's written by Kwame Mabala. He's written children's books before. I think he does the illustration. And this book is really about how anyone can be a hero, right? You don't have to carry a shield or have wings or wear a mask to be a hero. And I love the theme of that. I have nephews and a niece, and I actually really like children's book. I had a friend a long time ago who really kind of got me into children's books and how important they are. There are these things called the Newbery Awards that are given to outstanding children's books. So when I saw this, I'm sending it to one of my nephews or my niece. So I bought it, I read it. It's a great story. Check it out if you get a chance. Also check out Captain America, Brave New World on February 14th, which I'm sure we will have a review when we come off of hiatus.
We will be going to do that.
So I read this.
Yeah.
Really good.
Before you go on from that real quick. So you're excited? Are you excited about the movie?
I am excited about the movie. Apparently it's one of the shortest Captain America movies out of all of the movies that have been made, but I am happy and I'm going to support it. I'm not going to support it if it's a bad movie. I mean, I'm going to tell the truth about it, but I'm happy to see the Sam Wilson character and really Anthony Mackie sort of evolve. He's been in the MCU since phase 1, and to see him get upgraded to to Captain America, I think is really critical to the MCU universe. That movement, I like to see the development and evolution of characters all the time. And if it just so happens to be a person of color, even better. So I am excited about the movie. I think it's going to be a blockbuster for the MCU actually. So
yeah, I agree. I think it's going to do better than people think.
Yeah, Harrison Ford is in it. I think he always, Harrison. Somebody wrote a post on Facebook. Harrison Ford is in way more, so much stuff now. It's almost as if it was the 80s for him, right? He's on 1823. He's in this. He's in Shrinking. I love Shrinking on Apple TV. So I think that's a plus for this movie. And I think that Anthony Mackie is a good actor. He does these small projects that he's amazing in. He did this show on Apple TV about the first Black men to buy a bank, who got prosecuted for it or whatever. That's a great story. But I think he's going to be great as the lead, and I'm looking forward to it. But the other thing that I did during this break was I read the book Parable of the Sower by Octavia Butler. Now, Octavia Butler is really interesting because she's the sci-fi writer of color, a Black woman, which is not very common, right? And we had our episode about Afrofuturism and Black in sci-fi and what we should be reading, right? Mm-hmm. I've read Octavia Butler before. I read Kendrick years ago, and I absolutely loved it. So it's really strange that I read her one book, right? And then I never read any of her other books. It's so unusual because usually when I read a book by an author and I really like it, and I really love this, her first book, my first book of hers, that I didn't read any of her other titles. It's just really strange, right? So when I did the reel about the bookstore Sources of Knowledge in New Jersey and Newark last summer, when I did the reel, talking about the bookstore, one of the biggest Black bookstores in New Jersey, I bought this book. I was talking to Patrice McKinney, one of the owners of Sources of Knowledge. Shout out to Patrice. We were talking about books that we should read, sci-fi books or whatever, and she pulled this title. She's like, have you read this? I was like, no. She's like, you need to read this. So I bought it on the spot. I bought a few other books, but I bought this on the spot. So I had it for a long time. Well, I had it since August. And I'm just surprised that I haven't read any more of Octavia Butler's titles, because this book is simply, it's brilliant. It's disturbing. It's despotic. It's apocalyptic. It's like a potential roadmap for where we are going as a country and as a society. The themes in this book, they're almost schizophrenic. Like, how many themes are like that one author can tie into one book and make it cogent and like very apropos to what's happening in the world today. And she wrote this book in 1993.
Yeah.
She wrote this book in 1993. The time, the setting of the book is 2024. The setting of the book is 2024.
Isn't it crazy? Yeah.
Right. The setting of the book is 2024, days after a presidential election. Okay. When I started reading, I'm like, oh, okay. I mean, of course, I noticed the coincidences or whatever, right? And it just talks about everything. It talks about really this disruption in society that's sort of driven by a drug, right? And this drug sort of manifests these other issues that happens in social institutions. I can't tell more than that, right? But it's a parallel to things that are happening right now in the United States. And this election by somebody who like sort of disrupts these various social institutions that contribute to the further downfall of American society. You have a main character, a young woman, and you start to see a deterioration in society already that's already happening that gets magnified. It is a beautiful story. It is a very sad story. You see every theme imaginable in it. You see political unrest. You see the corporatization of cities. You see environmental problems that magnify. All these things are going on. Like, they're all happening at the same time, making for this like new world. You see slavery. You see interracial relationships and how people react to them when society starts to disrupt, right? Like, so all of the problems that you see, or all of the issues that you see in American society, she kind of captures them in this book, right? Racial tension, I don't know, like sexualization of children, sexual abuse, slavery, modern day slavery, right? Where people are working for corporations to survive, not just get a salary to have a nice house or a nice home or whatever. Like, literally just like they work for a company to eat and drink, and they are essentially property of a company. Like, it is terrifying. It's terrifying because we are so close to this that people don't even know. It's terrifying because we are in a place where people are selling their souls for corporations, for their bag, as they would say, for their second home, whatever. But when you read this, it will shake you to the core. There is also a solution in here, I think. I don't know if we will find this solution, but I do believe that there's a solution for us in this book, for people. Now, a lot of people are talking about it. Thank God I wasn't on the bandwagon when people started talking about it or whatever. It's sad that I didn't read it in advance, but I did get it in August and I read it, whatever. Some people are talking about it, I think, for the right reasons. Some people are talking about it for, there's this thing to want to gaze into the lives of people of color. And I think this is one point of the gaze. Like, oh, she wrote this book. Like, you probably never read anything by Octavia Butler in their lives, right? And they're gazing using this, right? But are they really catching the message? Because she is giving you a very strong message about this world and how it operates. And so there is a solution to what we're seeing in this world, right? It's a roadmap, a possible roadmap, but there's also a solution if people can see it. I don't believe people will see it. The call that I was on right before we came on, I was talking with an old friend of mine, a dear friend who was a medical doctor. We're seeing a lot of stuff like with avian flu. We're seeing things with the presidential, like the new administration and how they are ignoring medical trends that are going to be detrimental to people's lives, and how people are choosing to sort of respond to them. And people believe, right? Like people like Elon Musk and all of his disciples and acolytes, they believe their money will save them. If you read this, your money will not save you. It'll all burn. It'll all burn. And people need to learn, but they won't. Because we are
They won't.
We're greedy. And we think we'll get into a plane or a helicopter and that'll save us on some remote island. That is not going to fucking save you. But people are starving and they don't have water. And their worlds are crumbling around it. They will destroy everything. Mm-hmm. And so you got to read this book. I highly, I'm almost, so late, semesters get ready to start. I am so tempted to make my students read this book because it's about society. But it's like, to put it together now, it might be a little hard. Mm-hmm. Pick it up.
Wow.
What do you think? Because you started it.
I just started it and I've only read like the first chapter or two, so I haven't gotten into it, but I am loving it. I've been working like a crazy person, so I haven't been able to sit down and read it, but I can't wait to dig into it. I've read a couple of, I read Kindred Like You, and I think I read Blood Child. I think that's the name of it. And I think I've read another one, but I don't know why I haven't read this one either, but I can't wait to dig into it. Can't wait.
It's like another an example of somebody who's truly prolific, a woman who is truly a prolific science fiction writer, and a woman and a person of color. Like, why doesn't the world? Like,
well, that's about it. People are saying, how does she know all of this was going to happen? Like, how did she write this? It's like, because she looked at history and history is going to repeat itself.
She looked at history and she says it. She said in one of the lines that's like, history repeats itself in cycles at every like 30 years, right? Like, right. And so this book is written in 1994. She's talking about something, and one of the characters makes this reference. And the reference that they make is like literally, like it's a reference about how people, and I'm going to tell this part, how people were like hired to do a job by a company, right? And then they're taken somewhere in a rural area. They're like poor people. They're flooded with like alcohol and cigarettes and stuff. Oh, have a good time, and even prostitutes to do this work. But then when it's time for them to get paid, they're like, oh, we're not paying. Like, who you think paid for those prostitutes and those cigarettes and those, and that alcohol? So guess what? You owe us. We don't owe you like $300 for a week. You actually owe us $600. So you gotta do even more work. Yeah. And if you try to leave, we gonna kill you.
Yeah. And what I read,
this is happening in 1994. I remember seeing a report in one of my sociology classes where my professor was like, "This is what's happening in the real world." She fucking talks about it in this book. Like, I was like, this is crazy.
What's getting me, and I just started, was how children aren't protected at all. At all.
But I also say that the solution is in here too. Like, we are in a place, like, think about what's happened and what we've allowed to happen, right? Exploitation of children, right? The sexualization of children, abuse of children, and we've turned a blind eye to it, right? We can say like the Black community or whatever with R. Kelly or whatever, but it is a larger theme about people,
much larger,
right? Yeah. Like Prince Albert and Epstein and all those were young girls. Yeah. And these were powerful, and we can now say Puffy too. Those were young girls, and we turned a blind eye and blamed those children, right, for the situation that they were in. It's all here.
Yeah.
It's happening in the real world. And people blaming children on it and blaming women. Again, the David Lynch piece, that's what's going on behind that, like, right? If you look in the keyhole, that's what's happening. And people aren't talking about it. And they know it's happening. They know it's happening.
They know what's happening.
You know, I went to Thailand 20 years ago, right? 2004. And there were young kids on stages, and I was there for the AIDS conference, and people were talking about, oh, I wonder how much it's going to cost to have that person for an entire night. This shit ain't new. So, you know, what we're seeing in the world, it's not new. She looked at history, like you said, and what we're going to do about it is the real, we'll see, right?
Yeah, we'll see.
That's what I did over my break. I was supposed to be taking a break from the real world, like, you know what I mean?
You know,
like,
hey.
But you can't escape it, right?
You can't escape the real world. You really can't. You can't.
And one thing this book did show me and teach me is that we got to lean in on each other, on our biological families, our maid families. You know, we got to just lean in on them and take care of them. Like you said, you know, I can't. Your statement stays with me. You got to check in on your people and take care of your people. You can't forget this.
Yeah.
You can't forget. You get caught up in this bullshit and your people are suffering, right? Yeah. Like I'm really, this is really your statement, but this is really like hone me in on, like, I got to fuck all this other stuff. Like we talked about, you know, whether or not we were in a sense of cursing. Fuck all this other stuff. I'm taking care of my people.
Yeah.
And the people will take care of me.
Yeah, you have to focus. Can't worry about people who aren't going to worry about you.
Yeah. So read the book, man. Read it. I want to get your thoughts. I can't wait to hear what your thoughts about on it.
I would love to know people who've read this book, how they feel about it. Like, I can't wait to dig into it. Have you read any of her books, Brendon?
No, I haven't.
Okay.
Parable is in my
get on it, dude.
It's in my on my list of books.
I'm gonna read all her books. Like this is done because there's a I think this is a trilogy or there's a follow up to this.
It is. Read that next. Yeah, it is.
I'm reading all her books. Like it's a wrap.
Well,
speaking of a wrap,
that was a heavy ending.
Was it heavy? I told you we should save this segment for last.
But yeah, I think it's important. It's important that we focus on these subjects and on the artists and the creators who are talking about it, even if they're somewhat prognosticators. Apparently, if they're predicting it decade before it happened.
They probably suppressed it. Like they probably were like, we can't have people reading this shit. Like, oh, and by the way, LeVar Burton writes the foreword for it. It's just beautiful, right? Yeah. And he in his words, he's like, she was the first Afrofuturist that I read. And I was like, oh my God, of course she's an Afrofuturist. Like, you know? And full disclaimer, I listened to it, right? Lynn Thigpen, are you guys familiar with her? She actually reads the book. Lynn Thigpen is an African-American artist from back in the days. If you see her face, you'll know who she is. Like, and I'm sure you'll pull her. But has the most beautiful voice, right? One of those like, and I don't want to like one of these 70s actress Afrocentric like powerful
one of those auntie, those old school
auntie voices. You know what I mean? like a Toni Morrison voice, just like
nice
and magnetic and melodic all at the same time and powerful.
Nice.
So check it out on Audible, and I have it if either one of you want to listen to it.
Awesome. Yeah. So. Parable, everybody. If you've listened to it, if you watched it, I'm sorry, if you read it, let us know in the comments. Talk to us about it. We'll put a link in the comments of someplace you can buy it. Yeah, obviously, you want to go to a local bookstore if you can. Let's see if we can not feed the fascists if we don't have to.
Yes.
Coming off Amazon, coming off, baby. Getting rid of it soon.
Yeah. I guess one last point. I guess that's where the hope is. I guess for me, I mean, I hear. We got to turn in and look out for our own and protect our own. But and I'm interested in reading the book because I wonder if she covers this as well. The more you fold in on your own, though, the more separated you become from everything else. And I feel like soon people are going to realize that being alive is the one thing that that should keep us together, because there's a whole group of other people who are just trying to get all the stuff.
You gotta read.
And they got all the bullets, and they got all the money, and they got all the control of where we live, how we eat, and they're trying to control.
Still don't have
and they're trying to control how we reproduce, right?
And they still don't have control. Like they think they have control. They don't.
No, I understand. I understand they don't think they do. But what happens throughout history, as you already know, is that people's blood, bodies, and sacrifice are going to be mortgaged to hold them back. And that's where we're headed. And that makes me very, very sad. And I think rolling back equal protections to like the 1950s, like that is them telling you what's coming next. And it hasn't even been a week and they've done that, right? So yeah, I think we gotta take care of our own, but we gotta understand that just like in history, there's only so many of us.
They don't realize that they're going to burn too. Like that's the part. Like they're going.
No, I get that. But for me, mutually assured destruction. that's not for me. That's not hopeful, because that means we're all done, right? So why do anything? Because if we're all just going to tear each other apart at the end, why even just let it happen? You know, why are we even discussing it? So I feel like we discuss it so that we can try to find ways to stem the damage when it does occur, you know, or you could just be a nihilist and be like, we deserve it. It's coming our way. You could be Hobbesian. We're all brutal and short.
I think we got to realize what the true problem is. And we got to realize, like, when I say our families, and I'm not saying it's not insular. It's like whoever decides to roll with truth, whoever decides to roll with compassion, whoever decides to roll with good and laws, then I hear you. Family.
I hear you. I just feel
those who don't, because the rest of the people are going to go for self, and they're going to go for chaos, and they're like, I don't got bread, so nobody should have bread. Right? There's going to be that faction out there.
Oh,
right?
It already exists.
Just the wealthy people. It's going to be your neighbor going to be like, well, I don't got no bread, so fuck it. You don't need to have no bread either. I don't got a house. Your house got to burn too.
Yeah, it already exists. It already exists.
We saw it with the toilet paper.
A third of the country voted to just blow it up and see what happens.
Right. So when I say pull your family, I mean your people. They don't, all skin folk ain't kinfolk, right? Like we your people together.
What's the meme I keep hearing over and over again? And then we'll wrap it. Harriet Tubman had a gun for a reason. That's right. That's crazy. And it's not about the violence so much of it, but the point was sometimes the enemy is in the house, right? Figuratively and literally speaking.
The trash can's for.
That's what the grouch can is for. All right, guys, it got heavy at the end. This is what happens. We
got to call them out and put them in the trash. That's the other part.
I do agree.
Excuses for them and put them in the trash where they belong.
Listen, I thought we were going to do that after 2016. It didn't happen.
No, it didn't happen.
It didn't happen. People were just like, it's fine. It'll go away. That's Uncle Ray. That's Uncle John. That's Uncle Tom. Those guys, they always say crazy stuff. Yeah.
And now he's back.
Now he's back. So.
Twofold. I mean.
Twofold.
Oh, my God.
Twofold. And this time, he's surrounded by people that know what they're doing.
And he has friends, right? This time, right? He doubled down, right?
He doubled down. He's not even play.
Because he didn't know anything the first time.
All the people that voted for him, Latinos, some of us, people in Dearborn. He's like, thank you for your vote. Now, no more of you coming in the country.
Round
Ones
you up.
of you that are here that are in the process. If you're in the process, forget about it. The process is over.
Bounty hunting, baby.
Yep. Bounty hunting. Like literally just going in, telling people to rat out their neighbors. This is where we're going right
That's
now.
how it starts. Listen. well, you know, that da 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 da. They do this. That's how it started.
How it starts. And the one thing about that, and I was we got to close this. That bill that they just passed, the one that the new immigration bill, and the reason why some people are trying to fight it is because they're arresting people and deporting them. It used to be that you arrest people, you have a jury date, and then you have They're just like
go to your country and figure it out.
Right. Now, if you're a black person, you know, and this is for people out there who are people of color, maybe don't know they're people of color. When you're a black person, you know, they'll pick you up for shoplifting, even though you don't have anything in your pocket. So all you need is an arrest. It doesn't need to be adjudicated. You just need to get picked up and put in the ICE vehicle. Once you're in the ICE vehicle, it's over. There is no due process.
Well,
so
listen.
Understand that is now law.
All those people were fetishizing racial ambiguity, like, I'm Latino, I'm Middle Eastern. Y'all gonna be the same ones they fucking rounded up and take you to the border. They're gonna drop your ass off and be like, oh, you're Mexican. You're like, I'm not Mexican. I'm like, I'm Middle Eastern. Oh yeah, well, you look Mexican. Like
you're just getting on a different. Plane.
That's it. You're gone. And they were doing it in 2016. So
yeah,
they're gonna drop your ass off. You won't be adjudicated. They won't let you back in the country. Nobody in Mexico is gonna help you. But that's what you voted for. So you get.
Congratulations, America.
Right, you get what you get.
Hey guys, this is great. It was supposed to be a short episode.
30 minutes, right?
Everybody watching, it's supposed to be like a 30-minute episode. You take the constraints off of us, and we'll do this for hours. Read a
book, motherfuckers. Read a book. Don't be a garbage person. Read books.
Oh God! Thank you guys for tuning into the Quest Culture Podcast. Keep your heads up. Later. Bye, guys.
Can you?